This tutorial will take you through the New Hampshire State Council on the Arts Fiscal Year 2024 Artist Entrepreneurial Grant Program application at submittable.com. The tutorial assumes that you have created a free account at submittable.com and are logged into the system. The first section is all about you. We want to know your legal name. This is the name you use on your tax returns. Your email address, your snail mail address, daytime telephone number, your website URL, and we want to know the primary discipline of your work. And so there's a nice, very comprehensive list here to choose from. We want to know your primary discipline. We report this information to the National Endowment for the Arts and the National Assembly of State Arts Agencies, so it's very, very important. If you have questions about the codes, contact the administrator of this grant program. We also want to know what stage your career is in, and your race and your gender identity. If you don't want to answer the race and gender identity questions, just type NA into the box. The second part of the application is the grant request. And the first part is you're going to describe your opportunity in 50 words or less. So this is a summary of the opportunity or a quick title. Be concise and clear here. Next, we want to know how much you're asking for, when the opportunity starts and when it ends. And remember, this is based on the calendar of deadlines for this program. So make sure that you're very, very clear about when this opportunity is occurring. It cannot occur before the deadline for which you're applying. You're also going to choose an arts discipline code for the primary area of the opportunity. We know lots of artists work across disciplines, and so your opportunity discipline may be different than your primary discipline, and that's okay. If the opportunity includes a public component, you will fill out section 3. And not every opportunity has a public component like a performance or an exhibition, and that's okay too. So if your opportunity does have a public component, we want to know when the events associated with it will occur, how many towns or communities will benefit, how many youth and how many adults will be engaged in the public component through live, in-person arts experiences. So if that public component includes some kind of remote accessibility or access to, let's say, a recording of the live experience, you can't count the people who would access it that way. You can only count people who will be experiencing the opportunity, the public component, in an in-person live experience. Then we'll want some demographic information about the people who will benefit from this public component. First by age, then by ethnicity, and then some distinct groups. We also want to know how many artists will be directly involved in the public component and how many are from New Hampshire. And finally, about the public component, it must be presented in a venue that's accessible under the Americans with Disabilities Act. So when you check the yes box, that acknowledges that you will be doing this in an ADA accessible venue. In section 4, you're going to upload the required documentation for your opportunity. This section works just like attaching a file to an email or uploading a photo to Instagram. You're going to click Choose File. A window will open on your computer from which you can navigate to the place on your computer where you've already saved all of these documents. You'll choose the document that you need and attach it to the application. So the first one is the narrative questions. And the narrative questions are at the end of the guidelines for this grant program. Next is the budget form. And next is the opportunity documentation. And so this might be an acceptance acknowledgement, a scholarship notification letter, an invitation letter for your opportunity, but we absolutely require documentation of the opportunity. Your summary resume, and your summary resume should be no longer than 2 typed pages. The shorter, the better. And then any work files, work samples that you want to upload. We prefer that you link to your work samples in your narrative, but if you don't, you can upload 10 files here. We prefer that they be zipped up. And there's a link that you can click here if you don't know how to zip up files to get some information on how to do that. If you're going to be hiring somebody to do some work for you, like build a website or an e-commerce site or do marketing materials or something like that, we need the price quote from the contractor and their work samples, and those can be uploaded here in letter F. Number 5 is that only for full-time college or university faculty, and by checking the agree box, you certify that the opportunity for which you're applying is not eligible for professional development funding from your institution. And then number 6 is your certification. This is your electronic signature. So you would click the agree button and then type your name in the box. Before I go on to the submission of this, I want to say something about the files that you will be uploading in this section. I think it's really important to know that we prefer files in PDF format, particularly anything that's text-based or an Excel file. This way, if they're in PDF format, there's no way that we can accidentally edit your files. So try to get everything into PDF format. There is a video about the budget form on the grant webpage, and it will show you how to save that Excel form in PDF format. So you've got everything attached, you've answered all the questions, now you're going to click Submit Form. Hopefully you've done everything right. You click the submit button and the system will give you an acknowledgement on your screen that your application has been submitted. If you get a message that your application can't be submitted, that is probably because you haven't completed a required field. Anything with an asterisk next to it is required. So you'll probably have to scroll up and see what you missed. So that is the fiscal year 2024 Artist Entrepreneurial Grant application. Please let us know if you have questions, and we look forward to seeing your applications this year.